Welcome back to the Tiger Hanger. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about Gobots No More, or Masterpiece Gobots No More. It's been about a year, almost a year and a half since I've talked about Masterpiece Gobots, specifically on a Friday video. And as the stepchild of the transforming genre, they don't get nearly the attention that they deserve, but I feel like what little bit we do get is coming to an end. So we're starting to see some stuff sell out at some places. The most recent release from Megahouse is selling out, and that's a big deal because they're the only hope we had, or the only true hope we had. There's one more. There is another very small hope, but it's few and far between. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about what I want to see happen, and also, since this really isn't a huge topic, I'm going to tell you what I'd like to see in a retro line coming up. Now, I truly don't understand the licensing aspect of actual Gobots. I know that Hasbro has it, but they don't make actual Gobots. In fact, they'll do recolors, and we'll get into that here in a bit. But the thing is that the only thing that's even been tried is Machine Robo. There's explanations, as one explanation is it's a licensing thing. It's easier to get the Machine Robo license than an actual Gobots license. The other thing is that when people say that there's a larger market in Japan for Gobots, which originally was Machine Robo, still limits the character selection, limits the coloration, but by far out of everything that we've seen in the modern era that are directly trying to be Gobots or Machine Robo, same thing. It's like tomato, tomato, potato, potato, but still the best line so far has been Action Toys and their Machine Robo lineup. The thing about it is, though, these are a bit on the stylized side. They are a bit, you could say, over-engineered, and I want the toon look. I want them to look as close to the cartoon as possible. I want them tall enough to be with my Masterpiece Transformers collections, but there's a lot of reasons why they try to scale them down a bit. Bigger than the original vintage ones, not as big as the 9 to 10 inch scale, and a lot of these, pretty much all of them, would have to be 9 to 10 inch. The size of this blue guy, if they're really going to go true Masterpiece. Again, this is the closest we're going to get to Masterpiece anytime soon, and we'll talk about this. I first found out that I actually have feelings and emotions when I saw the deluxe version, the Machine Robo Action Toys Deluxe Cycle. As you can see how much bigger it is than the rest of them. It's not on scale with an Optimus Prime or a Megatron. It's not MP36 or MP44 or any of those. But it's about the 7.5 to 8 inch size. It's good enough. I'd be happy with a whole slew of these. The problem with it is, though, this is the only one that they made and they stopped, and I don't know why. Probably losing the license to someone else. Probably wasn't profitable enough. They sent a lot of them out for free and tried to jumpstart it, and if you say something about the face, yes, you do get the he didn't shave the 5 o'clock shadow true cycle face. With this, they did everything right with this release, and I was waiting for at least just a Leader 1. As it stands, this is all we got for a Leader 1. Now, let me explain this. I've already bashed this 6 ways to Sunday, said how disappointed I am that this is all we have is Leader 1, and then I went out and searched one out and found one on the secondary market for like $50, which is around what they originally sold for anyway, so I'm not really too upset about that. But it is a not-so-good version of Leader 1. I have it, I own it, and bashing it from pictures is one thing, but owning it and bashing it at the same time, well, it's not a horrible figure, though. It's not a bad figure. To me, it's just a poor representation of Leader 1. It's pretty pathetic that the best Masterpiece Leader 1 in existence today, right now in 2025, is the one they made in 1986. The Super Gobots version of Leader 1. This one here takes the cake. Was it 84? Maybe it was 84. I don't even know. But I have this, and it is better looking, but it's still a brick. It has the old G1 Transformer brick syndrome going along with it, but I like it better than the highly articulated, super stylized version of Eagle Robo. So the next thing that came along after a nice hiatus of a year and a half, almost 2 years, of the past Action Toys line, Megahouse came out with these. Now, I had high hopes for these. I supported them. I reviewed everyone as they came in. I didn't review the last one, Tank, because I've just got so much on my plate for reviews. I'm backed up a bit on reviews, and I need to get those done instead of these side projects. And with that, it's over. So, like, why should I build hype for it if it's over? Now, when people think, well, when a line ends, or maybe they're just waiting 2 years to announce the next figure, I don't think a healthy line that is continuing takes 2 years between announcements. See, it's been so long that the newest figure is already sold out. So their tank is sold out everywhere. Well, everywhere that I've looked. Maybe some of y'all that are a little crafty and buy from 33 different places will find place number 32 or 33 that actually still has a tank, and you might want to jump on it. Now, you can still get on eBay really close to what I paid, $60. So it's not really that big of a deal. Right now, if you want to get into this line, you can go get them for the MSRP. Some of them here, some of them there. Maybe get one or two off the eBay and piece together the 4 Megahouse figures they've put out. Now, I was kind of hoping they were going to do more than this, and it's a little disappointing that they didn't. Again, if they were going to continue this and say, well, it took us 2 years to announce the next release, but the next release is going to be Turbo or Leader 1 or one of those figures, then I'd be okay with it. Or maybe they're going to come out with all 3 at the same time. That would be awesome, but it's over a year since they've announced the tank. I've had tank for almost a year, and with that, it's a little bit on the disappointing side or frustrating side, and I'm just going to call this one dead. Put a tag on the foot of Megahouse. But I've never wanted to be more wrong in my life. Now, to be honest, the Megahouse figures aren't that great. If you look at build quality and paint and feel and everything, the Action Toys ones are better. But where Megahouse wins, well, they don't win in price because they're still $55, $60 figures. They're overpriced. They win because they match the original aesthetic, the aesthetic that I want. They win because the transformation is simple. It's a little bit more engineered and involved than a G1, but not a whole lot more involved than a G1. And so with that, it was what I wanted. I was supported this. And you'd say, well, it didn't do well. The line failed. That's why they're quit. It doesn't make any sense. Everything they made sold out. And then they had to replenish what sold out. So that's why stuff's still in stock. Not that it didn't sell well, didn't sell at all, and here's the proof in the pudding. They just haven't replenished this guy yet. If they do another run of him out of the blue, he's gonna sell. And it's a good figure. It's a decent figure overall. Is it a great figure? No. There's no die cast or light as a feather. You do have to snap on about 12 to 15 parts so they can call it a kit instead of an actual action figure. So there's a lot of issues with it. But if they could have continued it, I would have been happy. This would have been like appeasing for me as a collector. Can somebody really do something about this? Enter Keith from X-Transbots, and his fantasy is to repaint some of his figures into Gobots. So he's done this so far with his Psykill. Now, there's other companies that have done it in the past, and they didn't do a great job of it. This is the best repaint into a Psykill that I've seen. I believe it was a DX9 that did Salmore. I'd have to go look all that up, but I don't recommend any of those. I would say go with this one if you could get it from X-Transbots. It's one of those things I don't think they're going to rerun or reproduce. This here looks pretty cool as a nice little comparison. Found it on the Show Z, but I think someone else compiled it. I can't pronounce, I don't know what it says up there in the top corner. Someone else compiled this little picture. It's nice little picture overall. But Prime Convoy's one action figure album. There we go. Found that. And it looks good. It looks really good, and side by side. Still not quite on par with what we got for the Action Toys Deluxe Larger 1 Psykill. That is exactly what I'm looking for. Side by side here, we see the difference between what KFC or X-Transbots put out for an alt mode and what Action Toy actually put out for the alt mode. And as you can see, the one on the right is more of a Psykill motorcycle than the one on the left. The one on the left is Really a Wreck-Ar. Alright, so getting back to the whole concept of Leader 1. I need a Leader 1. I want a Leader 1 in my collection that is better than the 1980s version. I really don't think it would be that hard to match it. In fact, it would be super ultra simple. It just seems kind of odd. Now, we live in the world of third parties, and X-Transbots got away with their Psykill. They could get away with doing a dedicated one. The problem is that they believe the audience is too small. If you just look at the fact that the Psykill repaint definitely sold out, people are very happy with it. I think that's proof enough that you can dedicate a full production to that figure. And in fact, you could do the different color variations. But even if all we get is X-Transbots making something that looks like it'd be great, but you're not going to get anything to match most of the rest of these characters. Now, we obviously need a Crasher that looks like Crasher. I know that Hasbro did one. Hasbro's is a remold of the Mirage, just kind of like what they do in the past with this. But I have to say this. A, it doesn't truly look like Crasher. It looks sort of close to, but not exactly. B, or number 2, it's a deluxe figure, and it is a little bit taller than the average figure that's been put out for the Masterpiece in either the Action Toys line or the Megahouse line. So with that, it's odd that I'm even calling these Masterpiece. They're not. They're actually Chug scale Gobots. If Deluxe Crasher is the same size as the rest of them. So with all of that, I mean, I'm not going to call this a fail, because this is what I have in my Masterpiece Chug collection. Obviously, the alt mode is important. I would love to have a flawless, perfect alt mode. And that's where we get into what we're missing in the Masterpiece line. Now, I wouldn't want 50 different panel lines and stuff. I could use a few different things flipping around on the feet. That'd be okay. I could use a few things flipping around on the arms. That'd be okay. But that whole big chunk of head, I mean, that still could just maintain and stay there. I mean, you literally just take it exactly like it is and fix it. Now, a lot of people are saying something about Crasher not being in Machine Robo. I've checked that, but that's part of the problem, or the coloration wouldn't be right. But Crasher, gotta have it in a Gobots line. So this just in, Todd McFarlane just called me and had a conversation with me about this whole concept of why they don't make Crasher or Smallfoot. And he says it's because female characters don't sell. And you have to sell them as a chase figure, as a gold label chase figure or something, if you want to sell a female character, or don't make them. So thanks, Todd, for your insight. I do appreciate that. And I'm going to ask Smallfoot here, do you think female characters sell? Now, Crasher, Smallfoot, female characters. And the cool thing about this is that we need this, but it's not ever made. This is actually a hard figure to get complete on the secondary market. And for me, I'm going to have to grab a screen grab from one of my videos or something to get a good picture of her. But the thing about this is nobody's done her before. Wait, has somebody? Okay, this is supposed to be Smallfoot. Now, there's a long, drawn-out explanation about how when Hasbro took over Gobots and had Gobots came into the Transformers universe, but they're not looking like Gobots. They look sort of like Gobots. They're almost like Shattered Glass Gobots in the Transformers universe. Is that a good enough explanation about what the color scheme is that's going on with this? You know, it's kind of a shame that nobody's done Turbo. My man, Turbo! This is my favorite one, and I really can't even at this point find the prototype pictures that Action Toys was going to make of this. I'll probably, if I can get one in editing post, I will try to put that in here, but it's kind of hard to scrape that up. Action Toy was going to make, the next one was going to be Turbo, never made Turbo, and this one would be so much fun with the chest compartment opening up and a lot of the things that you could do with it, and to actually be able to move the legs and do everything with the Turbo that you wanted to do with the Turbo all the time. But Turbo has got to be the coolest Gobot ever created, ever made. In the show, he's got a cool voice. He's just tough as nails, and the figure looks cool, and he turns in an awesome space Hot Rod. Gotta say, cooler looking car than even Hot Rod himself. But with that, we need a Turbo in the Masterpiece scale. We need one made by a third party. We need a good Turbo. And with that, what do I want to see in a retro series? lineup. I would love to see a retro series of GoBots. Now, the truth behind this is it would have to probably be a HasLab, but I would love to see a full-on retail release of GoBots hanging on pegs, $10 each. Probably not going to be made with die-cast metal. That's fine. Maybe they're made slightly bigger than the vintage. Maybe they're made deluxe size scale. Maybe they're 25 a piece. I would prefer them the original size for 10. But 20 and double the size, deluxe scale. And you'd need to come out with all of the originals from back in the day. At least the top 10, top 20, something along those lines. It could be a Walmart exclusive. I know that Walmart did a really good job with the retro Transformers. We're talking about the mini-bots. It's the exact same thing. Precisely. They did 8 of them, and they were $8 each. And it was so much fun tracking them down. They came out in, I think, 2 different waves, and it was a whole lot of fun buying them for $8 each. If you do the same thing with GoBots, that would be fantastic. Now, one of the bigger differences is they probably still had original molds or molds left over from something else, that it wasn't really too hard, too expensive to deal with it. But these were so ultra plentiful, easy to get, and if they did that with GoBots, it would be highly, highly successful. And with the thing is, Hasbro can do anything they want in the toy world. With their legal team, they could make it happen. And that's just the fact. That's the way it is. And with that, who would even challenge Hasbro if they put out some GoBots? But anyone else in the world to try to do it other than a third party coming out of China, it wouldn't be done. So lastly, it's the most controversial character in GoBots, and it's Scooter. Scooter is the kind of whiny, wussy, non-courageous character, the one that's annoying that nobody likes. I never really had a problem with Scooter. I thought Scooter was an okay character. I could understand, fear for your life, someone being a wuss in the team. I get it. But I thought the figure itself was actually really cool. And I thought that the fact it turned into an actual Scooter that you could put your figures on, it really works really well with mask figures. Joe's are almost a little too big, but it does still kind of work. It's something fun and functional you can use in an alt mode, and I thought it made it really cool, and it transforms just like the show. The Scooter is not a bad figure in my opinion, and does deserve a masterpiece representation, but again, this is where it gets into, this figure would probably not sell very well if all of the money and resources went into making a Scooter. Big part of the problem with the GoBots line. So now I kind of want to know what everybody else thinks about this, and has anybody heard anything about Megahouse putting out yet another release? Because I would support it in a heartbeat, in an instant, even at the ridiculous overprice of $60. And with that, what do you think about GoBots in general? Are they getting the shaft? Should we just wait and get one from X-Transbots every 2 or 3 years? Is that all we're going to get for GoBots going forward? Who's going to do a Leader 1? Who's going to step up? I mean, even if you turn a Seeker into Leader 1, I don't know how you could do that. But let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Let's have a fun, great weekend. Worry-free, stress-free. Have some fun, even if you're working. Happy Hanger out.